Programang ito ay rated SPG. Striktong patnubay at gabay ng magulang ang kailangan. Maaaring may masiselang tema, lengguwahe, karahasan, sexual, horror o droga na hindi angkop sa mga bata.
Gongjiam Psychiatric Hospital. Gongjiam Psychiatric Hospital in Gwangju, South Korea is considered one of the country's most haunted locations. Legends persist of mysterious patients' death being the cause of the hospital's sudden closure in the 1990s, their tortured souls lingering on this creepy abandoned facility. Closed before its time, nestled away near the small city of Gwangju, a little southeast of Seoul, South Korea, stands the abandoned Gongjiam Psychiatric Hospital, now little more than an empty shell of stained gray concrete with rusty doors and smashed windows. This location is regarded as one of the Korea's most haunted destinations. The building has a look of one that has long been abandoned, but the truth is, it was only shut down, albeit suddenly in the late 1990s. Although many reasons are given for this facility's sudden closure, the most popular story states that for 10 years patients and staff were suddenly and inexplicably dying, found dead in their rooms or at their desk in their offices. With patients' families not given a reasonable explanation as to why their family member had died, people began to talk and soon a story emerged. That is, of course, if the deceased still had a family wanting to claim them for their own. Stories of a mad doctor make their way through the South Korean chat rooms and websites dedicated to the supernatural, as did tales of a hideous experiments. Whether or not there was a mad doctor offing his patients and staff will probably never be made clear, and there certainly is no public knowledge of an investigation into such activity having ever taken place within the hospital. However, another side of the story states that the hospital's sanitation was not up to code, and with the owner having left the country, it was thought most cost-effective to close the facility and transfer the patients elsewhere. Exploring this massive location, upper entryways are clear if you can get to them. People argue for and against each of these stories about the hospital's closure, but all can generally agree that the place will have been filled with much sorrow and no doubt more than a few violations of basic human rights. Psychiatric hospitals, no matter where they are located in the world, are generally places that are understaffed, underfunded, but most crucial to a recipe for human suffering. A place for people who do not fit society mound of normal are placed in order to be forgotten, regardless of the reason for closure. Those who have visited the slowly crumbling ruin can attest to the fact that the hospital looks as though it was abandoned in a hurry. Beds, desks, and other patients' furnishings still remain within the rooms. Doctors' examination rooms still contain dusty white coats, rusting exam chairs, and in some cases paperwork. Patients' personal effects can also often be found: games, books, photo frames. Corridors are long with many doorways. Making the journey out to the hospital is not made easy by the locals, who have no real want to have this facility remembered. Perhaps they know the truth of what took place there. Should one manage to find the entry, it is also not made easy with every possible entrance on the ground floor barricaded, boarded up with the metal bars, crisscrossing doorways and windows. However, should you make it inside, you will find a place where the light of the day does not shine. The central rooms and corridors in perpetual inky blackness as you pass through, hoping something does not lurk in the shadows. A haunting. Much has been left behind. This place is considered one of the most haunted for good reason. All manner of paranormal activity is said to take place there. It would not be considered unusual for someone to run screaming from the building, frantically scrabbling from a window, feeling the pain that is obvious of any part of unclothed skin, scratches by the dozen, beds of the blood oozing from the wounds. Did the untrimmed nails of a former patient's ghost cause wounds, or Was it from the shards of glass that had been said to be hurled about the halls and rooms? Shadows, voices, moans, and screams would also unlikely be on the agenda, as the residual presence of the patients and staff linger on the intimidating Gongjiam Psychiatric Hospital.